Hey everybody, welcome to this live stream. I wanted to jump on and address a lot of the drama, a lot of the criticism, a lot of the feedback that I've been seeing in the comments below the matchup between Adam and Olive. First of all, big thank you to everybody who's been supporting the content. We've loved seeing the reaction to it and response, and it's just great to know that everybody's enjoying it. So that being said, there's obviously been a lot of controversy over a call towards the end of the first match in the series, and we're not going to give any spoilers here for the rest of the series. That's just kind of a reminder to myself. Next up is Scott, and then after that, Mark. Today, I just wanted to talk about that call that Olive made that Adam contended, and I just want to give some personal feedback and some personal thoughts. There's definitely like a lesson here that we can learn, in my opinion. So I'm a coach, at heart. So I want to say what I think is kind of the teachable moment or the coachable moment here. And I'm going to show you a text that Adam sent me just this morning. I told him I was going to do a stream. And I asked him, do you have like an official statement that you want me to let everybody know what your response is to the whole situation? And he sent me a text. I'm going to show you that as soon as I give you some of my thoughts. And then Olive is going to join me and we're going to talk about it live. So she's going to be here in just a second as soon as I'm done with my part of it. And we'll talk about it. She and I have not talked about this at all yet. So that's going to be interesting as well. So we're going to just kind of unpack it together. Olive, can you turn your audio down a little bit on your end? I can hear myself coming back through your speakers. Okay, so my response, first of all, the channel is called Real Tennis, and for 99% of tennis players, there is no Hawkeye. I see people in the comments being like, "Oh, you should just get like automatic like line calls." A, that's like $40,000 a court. B, that's not real tennis. Like 99% of us, we're not on the pro tour. There's no chair umpire. There's no line judges. There's no challenge system. And so frankly, I love when there's a little bit of controversy because that's real life for us normal tennis players. We all have to deal with this stuff. And I think for all of us, it's instructional and it's kind of cathartic when we get to see other people dealing with awkward, painful, difficult situations like what we saw Olive deal with at the end of her match with Adam. So for that reason, and I've seen a bunch of people suggest this, there's not going to be any kind of ban or suspension or death penalty for Adam because he's a grown man. He made his own choice in the moment. He has to live with that choice. Just like if he was playing a tournament or just like if he was playing a league match. Like these are the controversies that pop up in real life, and there's consequences to those choices in real time, just like any other part of real life. And so it might be that he's kind of lost a couple fans out there. It's very possible. I mean, based on the comments, I'd say that's very likely. And that's just kind of, the way it goes. So I'm here to share good stories on the channel. I'm not here to be a judge or a jury or like a king and like tell Adam that he's like suspended or he can't play anymore. Like I just don't see that as being my role, and I don't want that to be my role. And frankly, I think a little bit of controversy and drama is just fun, and it's part of what makes real life sports so incredible in the first place. So part number 2. Hey, Byron, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. That, by the way, is the first super chat in the history of Real Tennis channel. So Byron, shout out to you. Thanks very much. Okay, so let's talk about kind of the teachable moment, and then I'll show you guys the text that Adam sent me this morning. So you guys have all played enough tennis. The ball bounced on Olive's side of the court, and so it's her call, period. Even if it was the wrong call, then it's her call. Now, on the other side of the net, Adam absolutely has the right to voice his opinion in the moment. It might not be the right opinion. He might be wrong, just like Olive might be wrong about the line call, but that's his right, to say something or to question if he thinks that something unethical or incorrect is happening on the other side of the court, then that's totally, up to him. Now, in a real tennis match, there should never be a replay of the point. And that you could see my reaction in real time. I was really grinding my gears. And here's what should happen, at least as per the rule book. And we can talk about wiggle room here in a second. But first of all, of course, make your calls immediately. Make them ideally audibly and physically, if at all possible. It's not always necessary to do both. But if you're playing against a especially contentious opponent or an especially big stage or an especially important match, then it's better to be safe than sorry. And both, points and say out or no or whatever. Number two, you stand by your call and you don't go back on your call unless there is doubt in your mind. And if there is, if you hesitate to make the call, or if you're doubtful about the call you just made, then as per the rules of tennis, the point automatically goes to your opponent. If you're not 100% sure about the call, then the point goes to your opponent. If you are 100% sure about the call, then you stand by your call and that's it. And your opponent, like Adam even said in the post-match interview, he was ready to just walk over to the other side of the court, but he felt it necessary to kind of voice his opinion in the moment, which is totally normal, by the way, at high-level tennis. So if Olive had just stood her ground for like another 5 seconds, then she probably would have won the point, which would have been the right thing. In hindsight, we know that now. We didn't know it in the moment. Or if Olive was unsure, then she should have just given the point to Adam. And then she doesn't have to be sorry about anything. She doesn't have to be apologetic or be like, oh, I'm so sorry, because she's just giving the point to Adam at that point. Now, I see a lot of you in the comments talking about how, oh, well, in my matches, we replay the point, and that's fine. And if you want to do that, if you want to just have fun and you want to enjoy yourself and you don't want to like ruffle any feathers, you don't want to push any buttons, and you want to do replays, totally fine. Like, God bless, go do what's fun for you. That's fine. But the matches on this channel are really different. We're not playing these matches just for fun. We have a good time and we are enjoying ourselves in the process, but every competitor who's played a match on Real Tennis and Essential Tennis loves competition more. Maybe I'm stepping out on a limb here. I'm curious to hear what Olive has to say about this. For me, this is the case. I love competition more than I love having fun. And maybe that sounds like I'm a psychopath, but without exception, the players on both channels have been some kind of college player, D1, 2, or 3, maybe some kind of entry-level, professional level competition. And those matches, what you saw between Olive and Adam is pretty like par for the course. It's pretty standard. And there's no points being replayed in those settings. And people come and seek out a match on Real Tennis and Essential Tennis because they want to feel that weight. They want to feel that pressure. They want to feel that anxiety and the butterflies that they used to feel like in college or in high school or playing national juniors or whatever. And they don't really get to feel it anymore. And that's a big reason why a lot of people seek out matches. We have a ton of inbound requests from people wanting to challenge us because they want to experience that level of like the pressure and the intensity. And the type of situation that you just witnessed is just kind of comes with the territory when you get put in that kind of situation. Big fella, appreciate the super chat. So final thought here, then I'll show you Adam's text, and then we'll get to Olive. So my final thought here, every player that's been watching these matches and every player who's left a comment has also made a bad call. And you've probably made a lot of bad calls. The difference is that 99% of tennis players out there don't record their matches and watch them back. They don't, sit there with the keyboard and go frame by frame and check all their calls. And so they have no idea which of their calls have been wrong and which have been correct. But I guarantee you, just based on my 30 years of experience in the tennis industry and my 15 years of doing tennis video analysis and recording matches and publishing matches, I promise you, each and every one of you has made a bad call at some point. And we've never had a player on the channel that is a cheat. We've never had a chronic cheater on the channel. And I hope we never do. That's not what I'm after. Like, that's not the kind of like drama or controversy or like excitement that I'm after. I don't want somebody who doesn't try their best to play by the rules on the channel. And I don't believe we've ever had somebody like that on the channel. So we've all made those mistakes. We just usually don't know it because we're not recording ourselves. So keep that in mind, when you're watching, when you leave judgment, in the comments down below. Just something to keep in mind. All right, so here's the text. Here's the text that Adam sent me this morning. So here's kind of his official response. And I'm sorry I can't keep up with the chat right now, but maybe I'll look at it when Olive and I start talking. Not that I'm going to ignore Olive or anything, but that'll give me a little bit of chance to maybe see what people are saying. But here's, I texted Adam this morning and I said, hey, I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to address, because there's just tons and tons of kind of controversy about it. And so I said, do you have any kind of like statement you'd like me to read? And so here's a screenshot of the actual text. And yes, in my phone, I have tons of contacts like Adam tennis player. I actually, now I know his last name, but I don't know. If you're like me, then you have all kinds of these kind of contacts. So here's what he said. Haven't seen the comments, which I think is par for the course for Adam. He watches the videos, but I don't think he generally reads the comments. Did watch the videos. I would say sometimes in a heated tennis match, emotions and things prior to a controversial moment can build up, and then one can lose it a bit. And I'd like to apologize again. He said sorry. I don't remember exactly what he said in the post-match interview. I think he said, I apologize. I'm guessing this was spell check here. I'd like to apologize again to Olive for this moment. She's a very talented player. And in this point, she made the right call. And I think the video 100%, shows that that's the case. I don't regret reacting the way I did because I seriously thought it was in. However, watching it back, I was wrong. And that's why the apology is definitely necessary. So that's Adam's response, official response. So he's acknowledging he was wrong. But interestingly, and I'm curious to talk to Olive about this, we'll bring her in here in just a second. He feels like the response was fine because he really truly believed, and I trust Adam on this. So like for whatever it's worth, we're not like super close friends or anything, but I've watched him play a lot of matches. We've hung out, and I don't think that he would just lie about this. So take that for whatever it's worth. I think in the moment he really did think it was in. Obviously, with the playback, it's pretty obvious that he was wrong. So I appreciate him. I appreciate him making the statement and apologizing. So time to bring in Olive. Olive, so this is Olive. Olive, you had not seen that text before this, right? What are your thoughts on Adam's text message there?
I think it's great. I think it covers everything that needed to be said. I don't think that. I mean, we talked, after the match. We hung out and stuff afterwards, and I was like, "There's no hard feelings." Like even during the interview, you can tell it's like it wasn't a big deal. The comment sections on this video are insane. Like the guy, sorry, whoever was calling for the ban, that's a little bit. That's a lot. That's a lot. But yeah, I think the apology like in person was fine. The fact that it's on YouTube and the fact that y'all get to see it and replay it and get more and more angry every time you watch it is probably contributes to the bad feelings. But with that said, yeah, Adam's a cool guy. He's a good competitor. And I think that, if this were a match if I were playing, let's say somebody like in a money tournament, I definitely would not have backed down like the way that I did on real tennis. At the same time, even if that were the case, I would still be like, still be a little shook. And I don't think the call itself or Adam's reaction really changed. Well, the reaction maybe, but like I don't think the call changed any outcome that was going to happen with our match. So yeah, I mean, part of that is just me needing to get tougher. If somebody really pressed me during a match, that's on me to be a little bit more uh, what's the word for it?
Assertive.
Just like confident.
Yeah. So in hindsight, obviously everything's easier. What what would you have done now if you could go back to that moment? What would you do differently?
Um, you know, I in hindsight, I would have just continued with the original line that was like, it's my call. Sorry you feel bad about it. Um,
Yeah.
and laughed it off versus, me kind of, it was a new environment. I wasn't really sure, there was some doubt creeping in like, oh, how do people on like what's the vibe at real tennis? Like what am I supposed to do? Like, playing the vibe, it's somewhere between playing like a practice match with a friend and, you know, playing like a professional match, right? So I was not 100% sure what I was supposed to do or what people expected. So I kind of um, took the choice of trying to be little more, a little less standoffish, you know?
So,
Yeah.
and by the way, Olive and I have not even talked about this together outside of this. So I know you obviously heard everything I said before this. I just want to tell you, directly. Feel free to disagree or like refute anything I said in the first, couple minutes. Like totally, like you can feel free to have a different opinion on anything I said. So with that in mind, I'm curious. In hindsight, now looking back, or even in the moment, I guess maybe I'd be curious about both reactions. Did you feel like Adam was out of line in the moment? And looking back
Mm,
now, do you feel like he was out of line with how he acted?
um, ooh, that's tough. I I don't think he was out of line. I think that's pretty much like, if you're in a real if you're in any competitive situation, you can get fired up. Uh and yeah, I mean, short of like yelling at me, um, continuously or like jumping the net. I mean, I feel like you can say whatever you want. You know, haven't you ever played like Monopoly with your siblings and been like,
Yeah, right.
"You
Yeah,
suck," you know? "You're stealing from the bank, stop it."
somebody's gonna throw the
Um,
board. Yeah, at some point.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, as long as the board stays down, it's pretty hard to toss a tennis court. So as long as the game goes on and, there's no insults being thrown, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, uh, were you gonna? Sorry, you go ahead. I got something in my mind.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So to address the people talking about gender dynamics, that's real. I'm not gonna say that I can't say, or I will. I'm not gonna say that the dynamic between like myself and Adam in that particular situation was affected by like, misogyny or sexism, or yeah, or feeling threatened because I'm a woman, um, because I deal with that a lot as like a person in the
Mm,
strength and conditioning industry. So many. I literally was talking to Ian about this yesterday. Like, there's so many people in this world, mostly men, who push back on anything I have to say, in a professional capacity because they think that I'm not as good of an athlete or I'm not smart or whatever, not as good of a coach. Usually that's solved when, I take off my sweater. I think you can see the delts. You can see the cracks. But I was kidding. But no, I'm used to standing up for myself. But I will say, like kind of in competitive environments where, or in general, when men and women can be in situations that are high pressure, um, where people can act up. I will say, like, I mean, your USTA league matches, your mixed doubles matches, like, guys tend to pick on girls, and a lot of times it's it's not pleasant, and it's effective a lot of times. Um, and I wouldn't say I mean, I've been there personally and done well for myself, but really, when I was younger, or for my friends, it's definitely a problem. It has a real effect. So
yeah, I've seen that for sure. Take it. I've played mixed doubles, and guys, if we can just go with like generalities here, definitely on average, feel like they need to kind of be more in the leader role and the alpha role and like being take charge and that sort of thing, in both sides of the court, like with their partner, but also like being the person to be attacking uh, towards the perceived weaker player on the other side too. And you bring like an extra dynamic to the table just with like your physical presence and how strong of an athlete you are. And so I can only imagine that that would kind of exacerbate that, even more so, I would guess. Do you think that tends to be the case for you?
I totally lost you for like 10 seconds. I forgot what you were saying. Sorry, that's
Oh,
the
sorry.
ADHD.
Like you literally lost me, or you started thinking about like Cheerios or something.
I, no, I was reading the comments and then I
Oh, okay.
forgot what it was.
Oh, I was asking if you think that your physical, like your athleticism and like your presence, like as an athlete, exacerbates that problem even more in your experience.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. When I play guys that, I mean, even ones that do know me or like we become friends, like, or playing strangers for the first time, like guys, strangers for the first time, they love to like try to like have a dick swinging contest, where they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna serve my biggest serve every time. I'm gonna like, try to ace her like right or hit a serve like through her body or whatever." And I'm like, it's fine, like that happens, but and they do like to challenge me like that. I wouldn't say people verbally will challenge me. In general. And they know, like, I think I make enough like bad line calls in terms of like being overly generous that they're never gonna like. I think they're happy enough with that they don't want to have. They don't need to. They don't feel the need to like hook me on top of that or kind of push on my calls that are closer. Um, but yeah, I get a lot of guys get heated at themselves actually when we play because they're like, "Oh, I should be beating her. She's a girl." Like, but I wouldn't say they tend to challenge me more because I'm more impressive. If anything, I get more respect and you know get there's a lot of like nice work, bro. Like kind of stuff. So
Nice.
yeah. They also they can see I have a hot girlfriend. Like they're like, wow, I wish I had what you had.
They res- they respect the game.
The Delt and
So
the girlfriend.
so I'm curious, Olive, what is your plan moving forward now? Because as you've laid out in kind of your master plan, you want to try to get a WTA point, which means you're going to be traveling to a lot of unknown. You're going to be experiencing a lot of unknowns, locations, courts, competitors, maybe even like formats, and the level of competition is just going to get more and more and more and more intense as you push your way through those different levels of trying to make your way to that part of the game. So I'm curious, now that you've watched this in kind of real tennis style, you've watched it back and seen yourself in that kind of controversial uh, position on the court. How are you gonna? Well, I guess I shouldn't assume. A, do you feel like you need to improve that part of your game? And B, like the actual like controversy, like part of it, and like dealing with the intensity and the questioning and the line calls and stuff like that. Do you feel like you need to improve it? And B, if yes, what are your plan? How do you plan on sharpening that part of yourself or your game?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that um the the handling of the call, like I understand now that like I mean obviously I'm not gonna say to replay a point in like a match in like a money match or whatever like a in a real not that it's not real competition, um I definitely in general like at tournaments and stuff will stick to my guns, and I can do that fine for those points. My main issue is maintaining focus after such incidents, whether or not like I'm in the wrong, whether
Gotcha.
or not like I end up, you know, retracting my call or, or if I'm the person arguing that I think a call was unfair. Um, it goes along with like the rest of my kind of like mental struggles in terms of like I need to work on my anxiety so that I can stay focused on like and having like a kind of like a clear neutral mind when I play which is like when I perform the best. I can be intense, and I can be focused, and the best way for me to maintain my intensity and my focus is to not get too high, either with like, excitement or nervousness, or too low with nervousness, or getting too high with frustration and anger. That kind of needs to get like breathed out and then like moved on from, so that I can just focus on like the pure like moving and hitting and playing tennis. So that's all part of my training right now. Learning like about the mental game, and learning how to practice that kind of like quiet intensity, um, so that my
Any
emotions, whether they're frustration or um, like nervousness about or embarrassment, you know, all of those need to go out the window.
any particular way that you're practicing that or training it?
Yeah, increasing my dose of Lexapro. Just kidding. But also
Was that
just
was
like
that a joke?
playing more. What's that? That was a joke. I'm
Okay,
on the same
okay.
dose of antidepressant and anti-anxiety pills.
Gotcha.
Maybe I need it. I don't know if I need to get a therapeutic use exemption for that. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, like when I feel like when I can feel the neutral kind of like flow, I pay attention to the factors that get me there, and I try to stay in it. Like I can kind of like feel it and like hold on to it, and grab and hold on to it. And, over time, it's gotten easier to stay in that zone for longer. Um, Kind of a little bit of meditation, uh, before and during matches, especially.
Hmm.
Meditation during matches, and breathing, mantras, counting, all of that. So all that's been really helpful, and also obviously playing more matches in high pressure situations, playing matches that are close, right? Or
Yep.
playing matches where I get really ahead and I need to hold on to that, or playing matches from coming back from behind is a lot easier actually to get dialed in. And in those cases, it's a matter of holding on to that like neutral flow, for as long as possible. Not getting too happy that I'm like coming back, which you kind of saw. I mean, I wasn't getting happy, but like, once that focus was like broken, it was really hard to get back again. So
Sure. All right, we're going to start wrapping things up. Before we do, now that you've seen Adam's kind of official, reaction or statement, do you have any kind of final thoughts about the whole situation, or like any kind of final messages you want to send either to Adam or to the audience, in general? Any kind of final thoughts about that particular situation?
yeah, people that call bad line calls should get the death penalty. They should be banned from tennis and then executed with a via guillotine. No, I'm just kidding. If you couldn't
Executed
tell.
by Mark
Um,
Sanset.
yeah, exactly. He's got to eat them, alive. But no, not really. Like I think it's all in good fun. I mean, it's competition, but it's still the competition is the fun, And like I said, I mean, keep being angry because it's great for engagement, but also like realize that it's just a game. And it's just a game, as in this one wasn't even for money. So if it was for money, I might be like, no, I think it'd be the same, but I would let you guys be mad for longer. Adam's fine. He's a good competitor, and I had a lot of fun. And I don't believe the upcoming matches have controversy in terms of line calls. Maybe there's other controversy, but you'll have to wait and see.
I'm trying to remember if there's any bad, like particularly bad line calls. We didn't have any fights or anything, but yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing the other matches a ton. What's been your reaction watching yourself? Obviously, you watch yourself play tennis all the time, but our style of content is a little bit different. What's it been like for you watching yourself back in this different style?
Yo, this is different. I mean, it looks legit. I mean, it's professional. On my channel, I literally just put out my first 4K video, and it's still one GoPro. The ball looks like it moves. I was surprised actually watching um, our real tennis video. Like the ball moves faster than I thought it would on
Mm,
video, which it just goes to show like how my self awareness of like how hard I'm hitting is like not amazing. But it looked really fun. It was dramatic, and I think it's true. If it feels true to the, to the match that we played. Yeah,
cool.
it was a good time, and I think it's really good training material for me to look back at my own stuff. I mean, just the same way that I do my own videos, the same way I use my own videos to
Yeah.
coach myself, basically. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, before we sign off, everybody make sure to go subscribe to Olive at OliveTV on YouTube. Any final thoughts, Olive, or final messages to anybody before we sign off? I think this will be our last video before you versus Scott goes live. Part 1 will be on Monday. So any final thoughts between now and then?
Yeah, I wish the videos didn't premiere at 7 a.m. my time, because there's no way no, I'm gonna censor myself. There's no way that I'm gonna ever be able to watch it live with y'all.
Sorry.
But keep doing it, because I'm sure it's good for your numbers. So I'll always be lurking in the comments. A few hours after. So
Yeah, it's great
yeah.
to see you engaging in the comments. Like, you totally don't have to do that and didn't have to do that, but I can tell you're enjoying the experience of seeing the videos come out, and it's
Yeah.
great to see you. I don't want to say not take it too seriously, but you could have totally taken this whole situation really negatively, and frankly, I don't know that I would have blamed you, if you did, because it was a tough position that you were in, and it was tough, and it could have left maybe it did leave a bad taste in your mouth, like it did for a lot of our viewers. I mean, if you see my reaction in real time, like I didn't like it, either. It didn't feel good, to me at the end of the match. So
I appreciate that you called out what you thought I did wrong. That was a good. I mean, no, you're right. Like that's what I should be doing, and it made me it was a kick in the butt, to be like, what was I doing, So
cool. Well,
yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm glad you haven't taken it like super negatively and get super triggered by it. I appreciate that you're taking it in stride, and that's what makes you a great competitor. There's controversy, there's challenges, there's it's hard to breathe, it's hard to think, like it's hard to swing, but then at the end of the day, like what can you learn from it? Not everybody has the ability to take all that potentially negative energy and find a positive. So I really appreciate that about you a lot. So keep up the good work on your game, and we're all totally rooting for you. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the upcoming matches with Scott and with Mark.
Thanks. Yeah, it was great talking to you.
All right, thanks, Al. Take care, and everybody, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate all your support. Thanks for all your engagement in the chat. I'm gonna sign off for now, but hopefully you enjoyed hearing a little bit of just candid, conversation about it. And stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. Super, super exciting stuff. And it's just incredible to watch in person. So it's by the way, like when I see the videos, when the videos premiere, it's the first time I see them too, because the editors work on them, and then I see them for the first time when they get published. So it's always exciting for me too. So thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Appreciate it. Talk to y'all again soon. Take care.